I call to order the Winchendon Board of Selectmen at 6:30. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Anyone recording this evening? Not seeing anybody. We're going to move on to our permit license application. The Board of Selectmen, acting as the local licensing authority, will hold a public hearing Monday, August 31st at 6:30 p.m. in Town Hall Auditorium, second floor, 109 Front Street, Winchendon, Mass. On all alcohol beverage package store transfers and change of location, application of Schweier Liquors at 674 Spring Street to Shiver Convenience DBA Gateway Convenience, 670 Spring Street. I'm going to butcher this name, forgive me. Madhubal Patel, manager. Anyone wishing to make comments is encouraged to attend. Good evening.
Good evening. If it please the board, my name is Arthur Perlman. I represent the applicant. I do have some documents here, which I have here, in the original.
Thank you.
If I can make sure each of you board of selectmen, if you'd like. Just this wasn't included in the package, but it's something that
Thank you.
I did. That really wasn't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I can.
That's all right, we can look on it. Sure. Okay.
It's just an affidavit covering the fact that there was published and mailed notice for the hearing.
You have to be sworn in.
I represent Medibin Patel and Shiva Convenience, Inc. They're seeking a transfer and a change of location of the retail package store, all alcohol license currently held by Swire Liquors,
Let's start in a second.
Inc. for the premises that's...
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
I got two things to do. Was proper notice sent out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone who will be tested before us will be sworn in?
Pardon me?
You have to be sworn in? I'm just
I
going
don't
by...
think I need to as a
Anyone
lawyer.
testifying?
Anyone testifying?
No.
You're not testifying? Okay. Anyone else going to testify in this matter? Okay. Just want to make sure I'm following the rules. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Be sworn in.
He does need to be sworn in?
You do
Okay.
need to be sworn in.
Okay.
Want to raise your right hand? Choose to stand, please. Raise your right hand.
You.
Who are you talking about?
You.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm being told you have to be sworn
I'm
in.
going to swear you in.
Do you swear the test?
Believe anything I say. Wait.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is truthful and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Then you may sit down.
That's a first. I'll start again. If it
Yes, please.
If it pleases the board, my name is Arthur Perlman. I'm an attorney. I represent Medibin Patel and Shiva Convenience, Inc. They're seeking a change of location of the retail package store, all alcohol license currently held by Swire Liquors, Inc. for the premise at 674 Spring Street in Winchendon, and they're going to move it to 670 Spring Street in Winchendon, which is the next building over. I've submitted my affidavit to you and exhibits relative to published notice and mailed notice to abutters. Shiva Convenience, Inc. is a Massachusetts corporation. Medibin Patel is the sole officer, director, and shareholder. Ms. Patel is currently living at 22 Long Drive in Westboro, Massachusetts. She has owned and managed this business located at 670 Spring Street, this Gateway Convenience. She's owned that for a while. I think since the beginning of the year. The business is operated with family members or close friends, and they'll be doing the same with this business now that it's having the liquor moved over to it. The convenience store is open 7 days a week from 6 in the morning to 11 in the evening, every day. The layout of the store is as per the floor plan which I gave you with my application. Sale of liquor will begin at 8 o'clock Monday through Saturday and 10 o'clock on Sunday. I'd like to point out a couple of things that have been raised, and maybe it explains to you my client and how they interact with the town in which they have business and how they respond to the towns, and specifically your town. We found out last Thursday that there was some taxes that hadn't been paid. My client was caught off guard by that because their mortgage includes the payment of taxes, and they thought the taxes were all paid. We found out Thursday there was some money owed. My clients went over on Thursday and paid all the taxes that were owed, more than what the town thought was being owed. I think at the time they thought around $700 or $800, and they paid about $2,300, but all the taxes are fully paid. On Sunday, I found out that there was a sign in front of the store that the salespeople, not our people, but the distributor salespeople, had put up there when they heard that the store and the liquor was being transferred to another store. They put up a sign, and I've got the signs, and the signs are typical of what these salespeople do. They're signs that look like they're talking about new management, and they do say that, but they're put up for the only reason of Miller Lite wants you to see Miller Lite, and Coors Light wants you to see Coors Light. And whenever you tell them anything that's going on at your store, they'll whip up signs and come over and do it. My clients didn't realize the legal import of what they were saying in that sign under new management. Obviously, there's a liquor license involved. There can't be new management. It can't be new management until we go before the town and we go before the ABC. And at that time, if it's approved, there can be new management. There was no new management. Then I found out that when they asked the person at the store who was the owner, they told them AJ was the owner. Well, AJ is Hatundra. Almost all my clients of Indian nationality have Americanized their name. Behind me, I have Ramambati Patel. He's Raymond. Maddy Patel, Medibin. Hitendra Patel, AJ. It's an Americanized name, that's all it is. It's the same person, there's been no transfer, no changes. None of my clients would do that without coming to me first. I've represented these folks and different members of the family for probably 25 years. They know how to run a business, they know when something's going on to contact me. They would do that. So Sunday, those signs were ripped down. As soon as we found out on Sunday, they were taken down. I also found out on Sunday that the person who was on duty was not TIPS trained, it was not TIPS certified. On Sunday, and I have it here, he became TIPS certified, and I've got his certification here. And it's dated as of the 30th, Sunday. He went online, got certified on Sunday. I know you want everybody certified for TIPS training. Today, Medibin Patel got certified again, and the people that are going to work for her have also been certified. So all those people have all their certifications. Everyone is certified. I understood that there was a question with regards to whether or not your manager is around sufficiently. Medibin will be around here sufficiently. He will be here at least 30, 40 hours a week. If at some point in time we decide that she's got the store running smoothly and she's not going to be here as many hours, we will come before you. We will request another manager, a second manager be appointed, and we will do it through your town and through the ABC. We follow the rules. These people follow the rules. I was very disheartened when I heard all this information was coming out that sounded as if they were doing something funny. That's the last thing they do. They do nothing funny. They do play by the rules. We work within the towns we work in. We work with the towns we work in. When the towns need something or want something, we're there. We don't play games. Nothing is done under the table or, underhandedly or whatever you want to call it. It's all above board. Let me see. As far as the hours of operation of the store start at 6 o'clock in the morning. We've talked to the police in your town, What we're getting, we've already ordered it, is like theater stanchions and ropes, so that the back part of the store will be where the alcohol is located, and stanchions and ropes we put across so no one will go back there. As far as the walk-in coolers that run along the wall, it will be the back coolers, the back maybe 10 coolers, that will be used for beer and wine and whatever. They will have a chain put through them and a lock put on them for the hours when they can't be served. That will all be taken care of. And that's already been done. We've talked to the police about it. They're satisfied. They appear to be. They said they were satisfied with it, and that's what we will do. The only other thing I have here is, I've got copies, by the way. I think I might have faxed them to you. I've got copies of the paid bills for the real estate taxes. Did we send them to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I've also got a check for the expenses, for the legal notice and the mailing to abutters. I think I've covered the points. Any questions?
Well, let me ask, is there any abutters here? Not seeing any, okay. Just gonna look over the department head reviews.
Mr. Chair? If I may, through the chair. The fire department note is that as long as the appropriate inspections are conducted at the new location. At what point in the process do they get called in to do their inspection?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you. That's going through.
Yeah. The Winchendon Fire, the fire department,
Say that, the fire department?
the fire department,
Yeah.
they notated that they're okay with this change as long as appropriate inspections are conducted at the new location.
Sure.
At what point is that inspection done? Prior to opening?
That's
I
up to
would-
the fire department. Fire departments do
Okay.
that at all stores. They usually do it once a year at least. They come in and check and make sure your fire extinguishers are okay, anything else that needs to be done, anything on the floor, blocking an exit or whatever, they'll tell
Right.
you what they want done, and they'll do that. So I have no idea when the fire department will come in.
Okay.
Because the store is operational.
Right, the store itself is, yeah, but not with the liquor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? I would like to ask a couple questions. I looked at the store plans, and let me just get to them so I can show you. How many staff members are you gonna have on during the day?
I think there's usually at least two.
At least 2 members? Because I guess here's my thing, and looking at this. It's very rare for a convenience store to be a liquor store. I have seen very few. A liquor store is where 21 years or older kids can go into the store to purchase alcohol. It's a controlled substance. You now have a convenience store that is accessible by anybody. You have pumping gas, you have kids in the store. It lends itself to problems. Where the liquor is at the back, if the convenience store clerk is being distracted by, let's say, someone pumping gas, something going on, and the convenience clerk, the other clerk is standing there looking at a customer doing something, or they're distracting them, okay? Kids are sneaky. That leaves this whole back of the store wide open. where in a liquor store, the only job of the attendant in the liquor store is to sell liquor to 21 years or older. So when I look at this and I say, you know, I'm not comfortable with this because it lends itself to errors. It's opens the store up to possibilities of kids getting a hold of liquor. It could be a hangout. Your hours of operation are 6 to 11, and you won't sell beer and wine. I get it from 8 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night,
Till 11 o'clock.
and that would be Monday through Saturday, correct?
Yes.
And then on Sunday, 10 till,
I think it's 8.
no, liquor. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
isn't it
liquor.
8?
On Sunday,
Isn't it 8? 8
No,
o'clock?
10
Woody?
it starts.
10 to 8?
10 to 8,
Yeah. The
Okay.
store will be open till 11, but liquor sales won't start till 10.
and they'll stop at 8. But from a perspective that I look at, and I'm not anti-business, but a liquor store should be separate from where kids can come in. You know, that's my personal opinion. I look at this sets itself up for distraction. It's a busy intersection, there'll be lots of people going in and out of there. You know, I have a problem. It's a moral problem with me. You know, the building, what's the purpose of moving from one building to the other when you have a perfectly good building, if I might ask?
I think that it's a better location for it. I think the other location is going to end up being something other than a store. They're going to rent that to something else. It didn't work. I noticed when I tried to get there, it's not that easy to get in. You got to really pull over hard when you get off of 140, it becomes 12, and to get into there. I don't think it's a very convenient spot. And the other store is if you've seen the new store, it's a lovely store. It's a really nice store. The liquor store where it is now is kind of a dark store. It's not, I don't think, all that conducive. I think this is the kind of store that actually creates a better atmosphere where people won't be so quick to come in and be kind of skulking around and doing it. It's very bright, all white, very well lit. People aren't going to be coming and do it. As far as an all alcohol license being in a liquor store, you're right, that is not that common. But beer and wine in a convenience store, I have to represent probably 100 of them. They're very common, they're everywhere.
That, I concede that point, but I will tell you that it is easier to grab hard liquor and hide it than it is to grab beer or wine out of a cooler. Would you concede that point?
I can see it, but most kids, again, if you go by what the kids want beer, or the kids want nips. And as long as you know how to operate a store, and these folks do, you're not going to sell to them. They're not selling to them. And once you get one kid caught trying to do something, and the police are called, it stops a lot of the kids from coming in. I tell all my clients, as soon as you get a bad license or anything coming in, keep the license. Don't give it back to them. Don't tell them it's not going to work. Keep the license, and then call the police. And you'll see that word goes by very quickly. It goes by very quickly if you're an easy store to shop in, and then all the high school kids start coming. And it also comes out if you're the store that calls the cops, and they don't come back, and you clear it up very quickly. And these people have run stores for a long time. They know how to operate a store. So I do understand your concern. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just saying I think they know how to deal with it. They do know how to deal with it. And you won't find a lot of that going on.
Anyone else have questions while we're... Mr. Bree?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Perlman, you had mentioned that one of the clerks at the present liquor store was not TIPS certified. How long has that clerk been working there?
I think he was new, and I think they didn't realize he wasn't. But as soon as we found out, they did. So I think he's relatively new, but he's now certified. As soon as we found out he wasn't, he became certified.
I do understand that, but I'm concerned that they would hire someone and assume that they're TIPS certified.
Right.
So I just want to need to make that point, that
Absolutely.
due diligence has to be done before that employee steps behind the counter.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why in this one, I've already got everyone certified already. So I agree with you 100%. You can't make those kind of mistakes. I agree.
Anyone else have anything to say before we close the hearing?
Mr. Chair? One more question, please. Going back to the floor diagram, you mentioned that there's going to be theater-style type posts and chains and such like that?
Yeah, it's like, you know, the ropes they use, like the velvet ropes they
Ropes,
use at
that's
the
what I was trying to
theaters?
think. Right.
That's what, they met with the police.
Okay.
And the police went through it with them and said that they thought that would be the right thing to do. Asked them to order it, they've already ordered it, if they're coming in, it'll be in before we get this, if you approve it, it'll be before we get this approved through the ABC. They'll already be in.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Lynch?
If I may, is there a way that it could be closed off a little bit more? I'm looking at particularly at the walk-in cooler area. I mean, I don't know how you would string the velvet ropes around the liquor shelves, the 3 back liquor shelves, the wine shelves, and all of these beer and wine along the side. I mean, it'll be snaking around the building in serpentine-type way.
No, if you look at the floor plan, what's going to happen is there's going to be those ropes going right through here, and they've now determined that only the liquor will all be back here.
Including the wine?
Oh, yeah, that now has changed. After talking
Okay.
to the police, that
Okay.
has changed.
Okay, and then
There
it
will not
will-
be anything in front
Okay.
of the
You may
thing.
have said that, and I may have missed that, so.
No, it's my fault. I never corrected it.
Okay.
But that was after talking to the police. They decided what we had before was the back shelves were gonna be all liquor and beer and wine, but we had one shelf up front that was gonna be beer and wine. Now we won't. It'll all be back.
So this one is
So
the correct,
That's incorrect. If you see there's one up front, one sign that says, one block that says 3 by 16 wine shelf,
yep, you have the grocery shelves, and then next to it you have liquor shelves.
that wine shelf will no longer be up front. That will be behind the thing, you're right. Otherwise, it'd be
Okay.
very crazy.
Right.
And as far as the doors, there's gonna be a chain that
Okay.
all the beer and wine will be in the back doors.
And they'll be chained.
There'll be a chain that goes through them all with a lock.
So the record should show that there'll be an amended floor plan provided to the board.
If you want me to, yeah. The only thing I need to do is just take
Yep.
this one, make that grocery.
Just so that they have it on file.
Okay.
It's here
So-
and sit here. So you come in here and walk down to the groceries. And this will be accessible to...
When I was a kid growing up in Ashland, down by your way, there was a Ashland Public Market. It was the only liquor store in town, I think, at the time. And they had a section that, back then, of course, you couldn't sell on Sundays. And they would gate off the whole aisle that served all the liquor. And it was so, but it was a gate. It was it wasn't just a rope.
Right,
So, but that's how they provided that type of protection.
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. If no one has any objections, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. The public hearing is closed at 6:55. Now, you've heard from the lawyer on this matter. It's up to the board to make a decision on this, whether to grant the license to be moved or not. So what is the pleasure of the board?
So just to reiterate, so this wine shelf is not going to be groceries. So you come in through the entrance, you walk in, your checkout area is on your right. You've got 1, 2, 3 groceries
Correct.
straight ahead of you. The
Right.
other 3 to your left is where the liquor is going to be.
Right.
And that is the area that will be
Roped off.
cordoned off.
Right. Around, a loop around this. Am I correct? A loop around the whole
Those
section?
3?
Those 3?
My understanding is it's gonna go straight across.
So you're gonna have no access to the bathroom?
No access to the back, because you won't need it, because the only doors going back on the cooler are gonna be beer and wine too, and those are gonna be
No,
locked
what he
off.
said, bathroom.
Bathrooms, you have
The
public
bathrooms are in
restrooms.
the back corner.
Yeah, we'd have to let people go to the bathroom.
So there's
someone
So
would
you
have
are
to
gonna
do
have
it.
people-
Someone would have to physically go there and, like they do with the theater, pull that little thing and unhook it and let someone go through if they wanted to go to the bathroom. But it wouldn't be, you could just go back there. It would be, you'd have to get an attendant to come back and undo it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think it's also important to remember the location of this store and that we're not talking about a neighborhood convenience store. There's not a lot of children in the area. This is a busy road. There's not going to be a lot of kids walking to go buy candy bar and maybe pick up a nip on the way. It's really not conducive to that. And I think just because of the particular area that it is, it kind of puts it in a whole different category where, I'm not so sure I would give Cumberland Farms a liquor license, but,
Because of the foot traffic and
yeah,
such.
but this is a little different.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion to grant the license?
I would like to grant a motion for the transfer of the liquor license.
Can I get a second on that?
Seconded.
Second. Is there any further discussion on this? No?
Mr. Chair, just a moment, please.
Not a problem.
Mr. Chair, could I ask one question?
You may.
Perhaps, could we, I don't know if this is allowed or not, but I'm wondering if maybe as a group, we could go down to the store and see how they intend on blocking everything off? Maybe we want to do that?
I'm
I think I'm okay
You're
with
okay?
not doing that.
Okay.
I think the police have already been there. They,
So you're happy with
pleased
that?
of the,
It's hard to envision,
I know.
yeah, it's hard to vision off a piece of paper, and I understand
as
that.
far as like,
Right.
ropes being roped off
Right.
and coolers being chained
Right.
shut.
I don't know. I mean, I would say I have no issue with that.
Okay.
Well, we could take a consensus around the board and see what everybody thinks, because we can also delay this till our next meeting, pending everybody going through
I
there.
didn't know if that, that's what I'm saying. Do we want to do that?
I don't know. Mr. Siganowitz, what's your feeling on the
Well,
matter?
I mean, I don't think that's entirely necessary. We did get our packets, I think, in enough time. I myself did visit the store beforehand, and I was able to look at the floor plan and get a general idea of what this would look like. So I would say no on that
And
suggestion.
I've got your,
I don't think I need to make a site visit.
That's fine. I'm good then.
you okay with that? Okay. So because this is a license in here, and I will now call it as a roll call vote, so it goes on record, so,
Mr. Chair,
yeah.
maybe a Mr. Lynch or Mrs. Daigle question. I too just have some basic concerns about combining convenience, gas, and liquor. Is it kosher, to use the only term I can think of, to request maybe a 6-month review? Just come back, how's it going? Is there anything we can help you with? Are you finding any areas of problems? Or is it just an unconditional yes or no?
My recollection is it's an unconditional yes or no, but I think the petitioner could express a willingness to revisit, come back to the board in 6 months and let the board know how things are going.
Well, there's nothing that would happen. What you're gonna really have is you're gonna have, if you approve this today, you're gonna send it into Boston. It's gonna get back to you probably by the beginning of October. Come November, they have to apply it for you for next year. You have the opportunity at that time.
True.
If there's been a problem, you could say, hey, we're not happy renewing your license. You have that opportunity again each November.
Right,
But there's no mechanism within the ABC
okay.
for you to,
All
have
right.
6 reviews.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine, thank you.
I'm just saying if you wanted to come back in 6 months and sort of talk to the board.
You know, I had forgotten that I remember it was a month, but November is the renewal, so no, I withdraw that comment.
Okay. So we're back to a roll call vote. Salter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Siganowitz?
I'd say the store has lots of potential. They do have availability to have some sort of like we'll say a Dunkin' Donuts or a Gourmet Donuts type of thing. I see this as just adding the, I guess, the potential to the building, so I will say yes.
Mr. Bree?
Yes.
And I will vote no. It's 4-1, it passes.
Okay. I have one more.
I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in November, see how we're going.
Yeah.
All right. One more thing. You approved just now the transfer.
The transfer.
You now have to also, the change of location.
So can I get a motion for the change of location, please?
I would like to make a motion for the change of location.
Can I get a second, please?
Seconded.
Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Mrs. Siganowitz?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll still say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
I look
Good
forward
luck.
to seeing you. Good luck. I see you in November.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. There was supposed to be scheduled a emergency dog hearing, but that issue has resolved itself at this time. So we don't need to address that. We're going to Selectmen comments. Is that on this side of the room?
Nothing at this time for me?
I do.
Okay. Right away.
I absolutely, I have a couple of them. Okay, I would like to publicly, in speaking for myself, thank our town's historical commission for all of their hard work. I know that they've taken a lot of heat and they've made some difficult decisions, and maybe some unpopular decisions, but they are charged with the task of preserving our town's history. It's important, and I think they take it very seriously. And I do appreciate the fact that they are committed to their convictions, and I just wanted to say, you know, I would like to support them and encourage them to continue doing what they do. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the Winchendon Courier in this week's paper, they had the story of the DOR, and it said that the DOR report is located on our town's webpage. Well, I looked on the town's webpage, I couldn't find it. It's not on the front page, it's not on any of the other pages. This is a really important report that I think everybody needs to read, that needs to be on our town's webpage, probably front and center.
I agree. I think, and I'm not sure if anyone mentioned it that night. I think they talked about it being on the DOR website, and there may have been a misinterpretation of that, but it should be on the town website, absolutely.
Right.
So we will, but I'm happy to put it on there.
Well, thank you.
It says good things about what we're doing, so
It absolutely does.
if it didn't, I might fight you on that.
The other part to that is I just found out last week at the meeting that we have a volunteer who's actually running our webpage, and I feel like that really does need to be a town employee that has control over content on a webpage.
The town actually does have control over that. Ms. Daigle in the office oversees that section, but we have a volunteer that does the work for that. But we're reviewing, that's all part of our DOR implementation to upgrade that and to bring more of it in-house in terms of actually the composition. But the content is managed by Ms. Daigle.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Mrs. Skinowitz?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that attended the meeting with the DOR. I thought we were very well handled and representative. I'd like to thank all the boards that showed up. I think our questions were pointed. I think they gave us an opportunity to talk about what we're doing to address the situation, and I'm quite pleased by that. I think we've been put on the right path, and we continue to move down that path. And by everybody showing up and setting up meetings well into next year, that we're willing to work together to overcome any obstacles that we might see. So I'm very pleased by that. And I'd like to thank everybody that's involved in that hard work behind the scenes, because there's lots of people that work on these things that the public will never see. So, you know, kudos to them, because there's been hours and hours of work behind the scenes that go on a day-to-day basis that go unnoticed. So I'd like to say thank you to them people on all sides of the town site. Just like to say, kids are back in school. Please be careful driving down the roads, as they walk to school, the buses stop, the sun comes up early now, and you got to be aware of some of the corners where the kids are. Just general notice, please be aware of the kids when they're out there on both sides. Other than that, I really have nothing else to say, so we'll move on. We now have public comments. Anybody wishing to speak on public comments this evening? Not seeing anybody. Boards, committees, and department heads. Anything new? Nope. I don't think so.
I like it.
As we move on, appointments and resignations?
I have none.
Okay. We has a solicitation permit for Mr. Daniel Lynch of Solar City. Is he here this evening? Please step up to the microphone. Hello there.
How are you?
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're planning to do in town, please.
I live in Gardner, Mass, and I just started with Solar City about a month ago, and they wanted us to kind of set up certain turfs so we don't get in the way of each other. And I'm familiar with the town of Winchendon, and they asked me what I would like to do around my area besides Gardner, and I chose Winchendon. So I'd like to go door to door, if that's all right.
Has he paid the proper? No?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. That people have been coming before us to get permits, and we've kind of looked at the time frame that we'd like to have you out there.
Yep.
I forget where we're at with
11.
11 to 7, I think is what we set. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Mr. Chair, through the chair. Mr. Lynch, you may not be the person to ask this. As the chair indicated, we've had multiple applicants already come before us requesting a license to go door to door in Winchendon, representing Solar City. Do you know what is in place on your end to keep the repetitive? I'd hate to have all of you go up and knock on the same door.
Right.
You mentioned, territories, if you will. How do you make sure that you're not stepping on each other's toes, so to
Our
speak?
managers set up certain neighborhoods that we're allowed to go in, and
Okay,
before I would choose to go in a certain neighborhood, I want to make sure someone wasn't already there.
okay.
So it kind of helps out,
So the managers coordinate, and then they let you know where you can go. Okay, great,
Yes.
thank you.
Anybody else? Can I get a motion to approve this applicant, please?
Move to approve the applicant pending payment of the fee.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 The chair votes aye also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, so now we're on to town municipal aggregation information from Colonial Power, which I'm sure everybody's hotly anticipating.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to step to the back.
Of course. Mr. Lynch is recusing himself at this time. It is 7:10.
Good evening. My name is Mark Capadona, President of Colonial Power Group.
Excuse me, would you speak more directly?
To the mic.
Thank you.
You want me to repeat?
Please, because people at home can't hear you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Capadona. I'm the President of Colonial Power Group, located at 277 Main Street, Marlborough, Mass. Here to inform you about your municipal aggregation plan, where you stand, and where you're going in the future.
Okay.
Do you want me to just give you a short update of where you've been, where you're at, where you need to get to?
Please.
Yes, the short and sweet version, because
You bet. So back in 2012, it passed the town meeting. You've been through a state process at the DOER, the Department of Energy Resources. Currently, you just had a public hearing at the Department of Public Utilities. There's now a question and answer period. There haven't been any questions about your plan from the Department of Public Utilities. At this point, we wait for an order out of the Department of Public Utilities. At that time, that would allow you the ability to go out to the marketplace. Doesn't mean you have to go out at that time. It just allows you to go out in the marketplace and test the marketplace. That's where we currently are. After we receive an order, I would meet with this board or any other board to talk about what options are out in the marketplace, what can be done as far as a green product goes, or if you wanted to go completely green, so forth and so on. You wanted a 6-month, 12-month, 18, 24, 36-month term. You could take a look at all of those terms. I'll bring any of that to the table for you.
Okay.
That's basically where we've been. That's the nickel tour of municipal aggregation,
Okay. And you've done this obviously before.
numerous times.
And what would be the average contract that you've negotiated with towns? What's the standard? Is it a year? Is it 2 years?
To be honest with you, things are getting a little bit longer. What we're finding is the city of Lowell recently signed a 3-year deal, and that deal allows the current supplier to be out in the marketplace, just like you would be, consider yourself a muni without owning the poles and wires. And it allows them to use the marketplace 210 trading days a year, rather than saying, oh, I'm gonna go out to bid for a 1-year deal whenever one's coming up. This allows you to, what I would consider to be like a portfolio managed product, that when there was a hole in the market in 2018, you could make that purchase possibly as early as 2016. So it's a commodity in a futures market. Things are starting to move to longer term deals, but it would actually depend upon what this board wanted to do with their energy costs and where the futures curve actually lied. And I'll give you an example. For the city of Lowell, when we did our original contract, the curve was steep after the first 6 months, so we only did a 6-month deal. By the time that deal was done, we had extended it to a 2-year contract to smooth out that curve. So the pricing had come down. They're currently in a 3-year deal at a price of 10.8 cents. That's a 100% green product. So over this past winter, compared to National Grid's brown product, or their basic service product, that was 16,273. They're currently above it by about a penny or so, but given the 5 cents that they were saving all winter long, they're just eating away at some of those savings. And the product is 100% green. So if you're gonna match that up against Grid in the winter, it was actually an 18.4 cent price. That the 10.8 cents would be up against.
So the 10.8 would be locked in?
It was locked in. I want to state, this program, it's one of the things I should have stated up front, only because a lot of these new faces here, this is an opt-out municipal aggregation, meaning that everyone is in the program. So everyone will get a mailing. They have the ability to opt out of the program. No one is locked into this. The town is just bringing a choice. So if at any point in the future that, let's just say, you got the mailing, you said, I'm gonna be in the program. You'd be in the program, you don't have to do a thing, we'll automatically switch you over. If in the future you said, for whatever reason, I'd like to go back to basic service and choose another supplier, you can get out of the town's program at any time with no fees and no penalties. If 6 months down the road you say, geez, actually I was doing better on the town's program, you can come back into the town's program without a fee or penalty. So the way we look at municipal aggregation is you're literally bringing the townspeople a choice that they didn't have before. Last winter, you didn't have a choice here. You had to pay $16,273 or try to negotiate with a supplier on your own.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to, that's a big point that everyone should know. It's an opt-out aggregation. Everyone is assumed in unless they do something to opt out, which can be sign the card, call us on the phone, or as well as the internet.
Now, my understanding is that it's people that are, townspeople that are in basic rates right now. Now, if you have a deal already in place, you now have to opt out of that, get into basic, and then get into the aggregate.
That's exactly correct. So we don't affect anyone that's already made a choice. Okay. It's only the people that are on basic service, but they're always welcome to join the program. It's just they've made a choice, and this is for the people that are on basic service only.
Right, which is, a large majority of people.
That's correct. But you probably expect right now in town, probably 95% of the people are on basic service.
So it's a minimum in the winter of about 8 cents a kilowatt hour?
I would say, so the winter is where, and this is not going to be well-received because I know you guys happen to have a natural gas line coming through, but the winter is extremely expensive because of a natural gas capacity issue.
No, we're not.
Yeah, yeah,
Particularly, yes.
potential, yeah,
Yeah,
don't say we are.
I'm just saying to you that it affects electricity prices. I understand the sensitivity of such a discussion. So the winter is what's most expensive in New England right now. So December, January, February, and March is what drives your whole price. I would say pricing has come off from last winter. You'd probably be looking at around the low 10s to high 9s at this point in time, depending on load profile.
Could I ask a question? Only because I see so many people put solar panels up on their roof. Would that affect?
Has no effect, it's a financial transaction. It actually can be a win-win situation because you still use power. So it doesn't affect your usage, there's just a credit on your bill. It's a financial transaction, so you still have the usage, then offset by your solar credit. It doesn't really, it's always going to pay out at the utility price. So if we get a good price for power, you're going to pay the lowest supply rate, and they're gonna credit you at the higher rate. So in Lowell this winter, if you had a solar panel, you'd be, whenever you were using power, you would have been paying 10.8 cents, but the credit the utility would have been crediting you is 16.8 cents.
Okay.
Excuse me, it would have been 16,273. My apologies.
So you can actually make money.
Yeah, and if you
Against
were-
your power.
That's
Against your
correct. But I just want to make sure that it could cut both ways, that knife.
Right.
If the rate was above, like right now, when you're using 10.8, but the utility is paying you 9,275.
Right.
So it does go both ways,
Sure.
but it doesn't have any effect. Someone with solar panels can join the program, they don't have to be part of the program. It is totally different. It's a totally different deal with the utility.
When do you anticipate a ruling from the Department of Public Utilities? What's the normal, if the hearing was in July?
So
The
we don't really
normal-
have a normal time frame. I'm going to tell you that I have 35 in front of the Department of Public Utilities, and they were filed in March of 2014. That's correct. The normal frame is somewhere between 6 and 9 months, but for whatever reason, there has been a tremendous backlog. I want to say right now there's about 65 municipal aggregations at the Department of Public Utilities that they do not have an order out on.
So we could be 2 years out?
It could be, I believe, once this order comes out, I think you're going to see a large magnitude of orders follow this. So I really don't see an 18-month wait time for you,
Okay.
but we have been backed up for a while now.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else? No? No? Thank you. We look
Yes,
forward
thank you
to
very
saving money with you, so
Thank you very much.
hopefully the,
And once we have a ruling, I'm sure we'll come back down, and I'm not certain how we wanted to do, I don't know if there's some subcommittee that deals with energy, or it's just the board that I'll step in front of, and
yeah,
we'll decide how we want to move forward.
correct.
Yeah, sounds good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Whether I printed off some questions
Yeah.
if people want,
Oh, okay.
you know, just a bunch of, yeah.
Yes, I could get your packet for people to come by.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Before we move on, that triggered a thought, and if I may ask, through the chair to Mr. Lynch, I want to say within the last couple of weeks, I saw something about the state, I'm thinking about the solar farm. They were going to make more credits available or
Yes.
raise the ceiling or something like that?
Yes.
Could you give us an update on how that may affect what we're trying to do here?
If there's legislation now that the administration has apparently given their blessing to. It looks like there may be a consensus now with the legislature and the governor to modify the net metering credit program, but lift the cap to a higher level. And so if that happens, which we've all been waiting to see what happens with that, then it would allow our solar, Sun Edison, the developer, to go back into the market and use those credits to move that project forward.
Okay.
The other issue that they're facing, though, is the interconnect with National Grid had expired. And National Grid, you have to go through a whole engineering process with National Grid to get your connection permit. And they were already been working on that so that when the cap was lifted, that they would then be able to go move forward. So I'll have to get an update. We'll get an update in the next month or so where that stands.
All right, great, thank you.
That project, I can't tell you how disappointed I am in the way that's gone. I've seen many, many towns around us put solar fields up every which way, and I believe we were one of the first ones talking about it. So, yeah, just, it's disappointing that the way this has gone. Okay, so next up, we have the Toy Town Partnership, Winchendon Enhancement Committee. They have asked us, if you would like to step forward? They have asked us to vote to set up an account so they can receive gifts to continue their work. Am I correct in assuming this?
That is correct.
All right. Because we have the festival coming up, which you'd like to raise private funds. And in order to do that, you need us to vote to give you the authority to do so.
Yes, eventually. We're funded this year. The festival is funded this year in part by the Robinson Broadhurst Foundation. What we'd like to do is we'd like to become self-sufficient. So we'd like to have sponsors and donors, and we need that gift fund set up for that. And maybe other events too, or fundraisers.
As we move forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can I get a motion to set up a fund? Gift fund set up for donations. Now, you want to keep this fund because this one says Fall Festival. So you want to have a fund for the Toy Town Partnership Winchendon Enhancement Committee. You don't want it to be tied to just the festival.
True.
Okay, I just want to make sure I have the right language, because in my minutes, it says, in my thing, it says, the board approved, the fund will be set up for donations for Fall Festival. They want this to continue for,
Yeah, it says it in the memo that you have in your packet,
okay?
adds to that.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
We also hope, yeah.
Yeah, just want to make sure I'm right.
Sure.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve that, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
Very
See
easy.
you September 26th.
You bet.
And thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, acting town manager's contract renewal. As you know, the acting town manager is coming up on 3 months. We need to vote to renew this contract for an additional 3 months, to keep him here till December 8th, much to his chagrin.
Actually, I'm having a wonderful time.
It's been 3 months already?
It is, it's flown.
Summer's gone.
I know. As long as I'm out before the snow flies.
No guarantee this winter.
That was my favorite comment I was able to make last year when it snowed. I said, it's the first time in 30 years I haven't had to worry about how much is this costing, who's get blocked in, what buildings have to be closed, and all the rest. So I want to be able to enjoy the beauty of the winter season again this year.
Well, last year, winter didn't come until January.
I know.
And then it wouldn't go away.
That's right.
So can I get a motion to approve this contract extension renewal, please?
Mr. Chair, if I could, I would like to take a minute and just really thank you for the work that you have done.
Thank you.
You've had a lot on your plate. What you've been able to do with our finances especially has been absolutely amazing. And I also would like to acknowledge Cheryl Wright for the work that she has done, because we seldom see her. She kind of gets overlooked. I think it's important that we acknowledge that lady has been incredible.
She has been, and as many of you may know, I wasn't planning on coming unless we came as a team, because she's really the one that works behind the scenes, doing that number crunching, or doing the, all the debits and credits and making sure all that accounting work is done and so on. And she's worked very well with Donna Allard, but I will make sure she knows that the board is appreciative of her work.
Thank you.
Really has done a fantastic job.
Yes, she has, right from the bus fiasco at the very beginning and
Right away.
keeps on going, so we do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You were recommended highly coming in, and you have been worth every penny we paid you, I can tell you. And just the
appreciate
the
that.
first 30 days you came here and solved the short-term budget issues we had and starting to lay out the long-term, and then with Cheryl coming in and going through the books and finding additional funds that were unused, just not where we thought they would be, to come up with that kind of money and close a lot of gaps. It goes to both of your ethics and your habits of coming here. I know coming here can be a challenge at times. On a 2-day, we've thrown a DPW director at you, we've thrown a police chief at you, we've thrown, everything.
planner,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah, we've got a planner, and I think we've pretty much thrown the kitchen sink in your first 30 days here, so.
We're a lot
And
of fun.
the question always was, will he come back the next
That's right.
time?
Keep people guessing.
But
thank
yes,
you.
no, I really appreciate it. I think you've helped this community tremendously. You've helped our staff. I know they're happy to see you. I know that they understand the work you do and look forward to working with you. And I'm sure when you do find time to leave, there will be some people that will be sad.
Well, we still have 3 months to go. Maybe they won't be after 3 months, so.
Well, so far, so good. So, like I said, I think I'd like to just tap on those notes, because I think that's goes unsaid, especially Cheryl coming in
Right.
behind the scenes. And the first time I got a chance to meet her was last week,
Right.
too. So, but knowing of her and saying, you're the one.
That's right.
So can I get a motion to renew the town manager's contract, please?
I would like to make a motion to renew the town manager's contract,
Can I get a second?
Second.
as well as Cheryl's.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye also. Thank you. Okay, next up, Ms. Labrie brought some information on the recusal process referencing Mass General Law. You all have that in your packet. And thank you for bringing this to our attention. It goes over a lot of stuff with the state, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. And just so the general public does know, I did recuse myself. I did speak. I did call the Ethics Commission on myself to make sure that I was on solid ground. I did speak with an attorney today from the Ethics Commission. As I recused myself, so you all understand, I became a private citizen. I was allowed my opinion. The vote did not go my way. I was not trying to influence the vote. I was talking about our unions, not myself. As far as they're concerned, it is not an ethics matter. So I have taken care of that today, and I said, if there is anything that comes up, I gave them my number to call me. So I just wanted to address that. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have said anything, but I had worked with our town people for a long time and felt that they always work with us. And that was my point. It wasn't personal gain or anything like that. It was just express an opinion I had. So that's been dealt with. I just wanted you all to know, and I want the general public to know that I did call the Ethics Commission about that. So, in the future, if you recuse yourself, would you please go to the end of the room, including myself?
Mr. Chair? The 268A from the MGL that you have covers a lot of ground. There are exemptions to acting on matters of general policy. If it's something that affects a great enough population, things along that line. I wanted to bring this up as a review for the board. I also reached out to the State Ethics Commission just to get a sense of making sure that I was going in the right direction on this. Some had approached me with some concerns, which Mike has addressed. So the proper recusal is, you state you're going to recuse yourself. You need to state why. What is the potential conflict? for you recusing yourself from that. And the way that the attorney I spoke to said, they said, it doesn't state that you must leave the room, but they actually strongly recommend that you leave the room during any discussion, any votes, or what have you. Make sure the minutes notate that you recused and you left the room, and then come back. Or at minimum, seat yourself in the back, don't make eye contact with anyone, etc. So this is for your perusal, and I felt that I talked to Mike about it, and just so we can move forward with this.
Just so you know, we are planning to have a meeting with the lawyer still, with
Open
all the
meeting and
boards.
ethics.
Yep, ethics and how to run a meeting, and it's for insurance purposes also. So that will cover a lot of ground going forward. We're still waiting to hear back from the attorney on that, for the dates,
Yes, sir.
as soon as we,
Figuring out when you're meeting, but you wanted a separate meeting, is that
for that, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have to work that in, but I know we have talked to the lawyer about that, and we waited for everybody to come back from summer break, so that will now be ongoing, and we'll try to get that wrapped up as quick as possible.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
ahead.
And I was going to actually mention that you had talked about this at an earlier meeting about having a session like that to go over the open meeting law and the ethics, the 268A, public records, and I think that will be very useful to have a meeting like that in terms of how to run a meeting as well. The other issue, though, is that there's been some changes in the state law with regards to the ethics, and I tell you the truth, I'm not sure if we're doing it here in Winchendon, where employees are actually doing an online certification that everyone's done, okay, good, yeah. And it's good for a year or 2 years or something like that, but I just wanted to make sure that was being done. Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to acting town manager report.
I don't have much of a report tonight. The finances, we covered so much in the DOR meeting last week that there really isn't much to say there except that we closed the books, and we will need a special town meeting, and we're putting that together now, the financial actions that will be necessary, and I know other people are planning on some items to come before the town meeting as well. Health insurance, we are working with Cooking Company. They're doing the reinsurance audit. They're doing the enrollment audit. As I had indicated we would be doing to make sure that anything we can get from our prior reinsurance company for that health insurance trust fund, we do get. Making sure that the enrollment audit will make sure that people that are on our policy belong on our policy, and that we don't have people that are no longer with us but still receiving insurance and being billed for them. And we're also looking at different health options, and we'll be meeting with the employees, with the Insurance Advisory Committee, with the Public Employees Group. We're looking at a number of different health insurance options, the GIC being one of them, but we're also talking to the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, MIA, and we'll be looking at some others as well. So hope to have that meeting in the next week or two.
Mr. Lynch, on that point, I got a question from a citizen about out-of-district services, specialists and stuff like that. So just as you're looking at these various plans and such like that, I think that's going to be very critical to a lot of people.
Yes.
With the BCBS, from what I understand, I'm not on it. Whether you're in district or out of district, like same copay or something like that.
In the network or out of the network.
Yes.
Right.
Because, if you get into a specialist or whatever, it could cost that arm that you're trying to get fixed in order to get to see the doctor. So if you
Right.
just keep in mind that that's a piece of information that I think should be presented as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That will be included in all of our discussions, because when we'll present this, it's not just the rates that we'll be presenting, and at this point, we're generally only working with projected rates. But beyond that, it's and that's one of the, not to go back into our discussion about the GIC, but that's one of the nice things about the GIC is it has so many different plans that people can choose from. I think we calculated that night, there were like 13 or 14 plans that people can, and so if they feel that they're going to be going off to specialists, they can get a higher price plan with lower cost copays and deductibles. If they don't feel that, it gives them choices. But beyond that, that's an issue that we'll be talking about with the employees with regards to mitigating any of those changes. And that's something we'll be negotiating over.
All right, good, thank you.
Thank you. No personnel updates, project updates. Police station sub-bids are due the 15th, and general bids are due on the 22nd. So we'll know by the end of September where we stand with regards to the police station project.
Could I just ask, through the chair, how many times has this police station been out to bid?
I am not sure. I want to say
I'm
this is
getting
the third
confused.
time. I think this is the third time.
Third time?
The third time.
Right. You know, and each time, the market gets worse and worse for us, actually, because of the economy and all the construction that's taking place in other locations, and what that's doing with regards to materials as well.
Thank you.
Library bidding will be commencing in the near future for that project. The bike path is ongoing. We're going to be working, I know we're talking to them now about another parking area that will be placed along the bike path that's in the original plans. But obviously that's very important for those that want to use the bike path. If they're not able to just bike to the bike path, they have to drive and then use it. And then in the last miscellaneous update, I think I indicated this at a previous meeting, in a previous report, that I was looking at some electricity savings for the town. And, you know, with the solar field, I believe it's a 7.54 or 7.5, I think it's just 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour that we will be getting with that deal. But until that's available to us, you know, we've been paying the basic rate, which has been high. Right now it's about 9 something, and you know, last winter it was considerably higher than that. What we've done is we've locked in with the Constellation Power. They're a selected vendor by the Mass Municipal Association. We've locked in for 16 months at 8 cents, 8.54. I put a decimal there that I shouldn't have. 8.54 cents per kilowatt hour. That will produce savings to the town of about $35,000 to $40,000 by our calculations. So, and then it's anticipated that at that time, the solar field will be online. If a solar field comes online sooner than that, we'll be able to change this to, there's some ways we can change out of this to get into a different, get that on sooner.
Mr. Lynch, the 35 to 40,000, is that just the town side, or is that the town and school side?
Town and school side, I believe, right. Yeah, we were looking at the total power that we use, so. So, that's good news for us in terms of some savings. And that's all I have for my report tonight.
Mr. Chair? Through the chair to Mr. Lynch, how does this tie into the Colonial Power Group aggregation information that we're just talking about?
It doesn't really, because this is just for the municipal buildings.
Right.
They will be buying for the residents,
So this agreement through Colonial is residential?
just residential.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if I may-
Well, residential and businesses. The
Okay.
businesses that don't have separate contracts themselves. Anyone that already has a separate contract with an alternative vendor, other than the basic service of National Grid, they're out of the aggregation. They'd have to get out of there.
Right.
And I believe there was a question raised at a prior meeting about this. If someone's already with a third-party provider, they would have to cancel that and then get into the town's aggregation plan.
Okay.
In some cases, I believe it can be done without penalty. Some people are wise enough to do that. Other people may not have had that knowledge that there'd be something like this coming along, and there may be a fee associated with them getting out. But at some point in time, if they don't want to pay that fee, they can get in at a later date.
Okay, all right, thank you. And, Mr. Chair, one more, please. Mr. Lynch, I think this was on our, whatever date, I didn't date this. We received a petition regarding 41 Juniper Street.
I have
Can you
seen
give
that,
us
and
an update?
I did speak with the individual who brought it in.
Okay.
Actually, my plan was to get you, once we got all the reports in, to get you a report that you could review
Okay.
in your reading file.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there are some issues there that, that are being investigated and looked at. One of the issues with the petition, if I could talk about that for a second, is one of the requests in the petition is to have the people forced to move, and that's really not possible. You know, that's a landlord-tenant arrangement, legal arrangement. But anything that, you know, if people have issues with regards to the enforcement of, you know, local bylaws or state law, obviously, we want to hear those complaints, we want to investigate those, and we will do that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, so now we're on to the town manager search update.
What I've done is I've provided you just with, well, first off, let me say that I had a meeting last week with the search committee. It was a good meeting. They're a ambitious group. They're enthusiastic and ready to hit the ground running. Maybe running too fast right out of the gate, but they're anxious to go. So we have another meeting coming up next week where we're going to talk about the questions that the search committee thinks they'd like to look into with the candidates, talk about some of the processes that are going to be followed with bringing the candidates in. So that will be done on next week's meeting. Then we'll be meeting again on the 22nd. We've already scheduled that for me to hand over resumes to them. And then we plan on meeting on the 29th of September to narrow it down to a reasonable group that the search committee and will want to bring in for interviews. And obviously, I'll be involved in that process and advising them regarding the candidates that I see coming forward and whether they meet the qualifications, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And from that, we'll then set up a series of dates to interview the candidates. So we anticipate 7 to 9 candidates will be interviewed. That will be done in executive session. In fact, 22nd and the 29th will both be executive session meetings because the candidates' names will be being brought forward and, in fact, discussed in one case. But we'll have that, and then hopefully by the second week of October, third week of October, we'll be able to turn over to the board 3 to 5 finalists that you will interview publicly. And I will work with you then on that process. I am very optimistic, I guess is a good word to use. I'm very pleased with the response. It's been out in advertisement now with the Massachusetts Municipal Association and the International City Managers Association, and it will be going into the New Hampshire Municipal Association next week, well, actually later on this week, and we'll also be sending it off to some of the graduate schools for public administration in the area, just to, some of them have sort of a job posting board that they can put things out at, so we'll get that out there. But most people that are looking at these positions are going into either their state organization or the International City Managers Association, the ICMA newsletter. So I've been in touch with all of those. I've also been talking to a number of candidates from the region and across the state who I think would be good fits for the town of Winchendon and trying to move them along to apply. So far, and there has been a good response. So far, I believe I'm up to 13 resumes that are in hand. Many of them have good municipal experience. And so I think we've got some good candidates there. And then I have another 5 that I'm talking to that have not yet submitted, but some very good candidates that, again, have some extensive municipal experience and are interested in what Winchendon could be for them in terms of a career move. So, I'm optimistic with that. What I've provided to you is the ad that was placed in those newsletters, and everything's done online now, so this literally was put on the Mass Municipal Association webpage. I forget which day I did that, but within half an hour, I had my first resume. So someone was reading the webpage that day, and in that moment. So and as I say, we've gotten them. Have an applicant from Louisiana, and we have one from California. So we're getting some broad experience there. So that's the ad, and then what I've done is I've put together a position profile that is being. This is just the ordinary paper. We can probably be putting this on some glossy paper, but again, everything's done on the internet now, and this will be forwarded out to the candidates that express interest, ones that have already contacted me, and others that I wish to recruit to apply. So what I've tried to do in here is give people a sense of the community within a limited amount of space here. We can't overwhelm them with too much, but tell them a little bit about the community, tell them about the form of government that we have here, as well as a copy of a link to the town charter, talk about the finances, and a link to the DOR report. Most people in the region are already familiar with what's gone on here in Winchendon, and some have already found the DOR report, others will now find it. But I think it tells a good story about what where we've been, what we've done, and what we can do with making the improvements that they've suggested. I've placed what I think are the challenges and opportunities. If you see something different, what I've focused on obviously is municipal finances, the development of the organization. You have a brand new staff here. You have a brand new board of selectmen, a brand new school committee, all these new people. This is a great opportunity for someone to come in and really make a difference in the town. The community development in terms of economic development certainly, but going beyond that to housing developments that could happen in the town. Public facilities, we've just talking about the police and library projects, but and the solar farm, but there's quite a bit more that needs to be done in terms of the capital plan and the infrastructure. One thing that jumps out at me, and we're doing this some here, but more and more opportunities are out there for working regionally in terms of the services we provide, but also thinking as a region for economic development purposes. It's always, we always want businesses to locate in Winchendon, but if they locate in a neighboring community and they produce jobs for the residents of Winchendon, that's okay too. As long as the region's prospering, every community will prosper. And then community leadership. We need, I think, based upon what I've heard from the board and what I've heard from the residents and the community, is that the town is looking for a town manager that will play a public role, but have the attributes that I've listed here in the ideal candidate of someone who is, approachable and is interested in working collaboratively with everyone, and brings the right type of skill set and personality to mesh with what the town is looking for. So that's what's out there, and if it's all right with the board, I'd like to start circulating this.
Sense of the board?
Is
I
something-
also will tell you that there was a nice article done by Chronicle not too long ago that took in the Historical Commission and the town, and
Okay.
so it was about a 15-minute little blurb about the town itself and the history. Yeah, it was, my mother-in-law recorded it, so I got to.
Yeah, I'll see
I got to
if,
see it, so-
is there a YouTube?
There is.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll see if I can track that down, and we can send that out to the applicants as well.
because it definitely goes into the history of the town, and so, some of the things that are going on here. Everybody else happy with this?
I love your choice of pictures.
Oh, thank you. Linda went through her archives and found them for me. I'd like to say I was out there with my camera taking these, but thank you.
All right. With no questions on that, we'll move on to, we have minutes from July 20th, 2015, our regular meeting. If nobody has any alterations or changes, I'd like to approve them as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I should note, before you do that, that Mr. Romanowski was elected the chairman of the search committee, so I didn't want him to leave without getting that recognition.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dave.
And future blame if it doesn't go well.
Are we looking at the 20th? I had just two little issues. If you look on page 2, under Selectmen's comments continued, kind of midway through, she said that they are having a charity cook-off. It's a chili cook-off. Do you see?
Oh, yeah.
Chili cook-off.
The
Chili
chili
cook-off.
cook-off, yeah.
And then on page 3, and I'm not even sure, Deb, to be honest with you, on the third paragraph down, where it says, Mr. Lynch said he's not sure, but statute purpose is not to negotiate. Is it statute? Should it be? I'm not even sure what that was supposed to be.
Where is the, I'm sorry,
It's on page 3.
page 3?
But, yeah, pretty statute.
Oh, are you looking at the,
Looking at the wrong one? Sorry.
but you, look at
The
this,
statute.
it's talking about, oh, okay.
Be statute.
He's not sure, but statute purposes not to negotiate the
Yeah,
ICC.
but-
Oh, right, the statute.
Okay, just statute.
Statute.
Statute. Anything else?
No, and those were so small, and I know we're going so quickly, but thank you.
Okay, so can we get a motion to amend the minutes, present the minutes as amended?
Motion to approve the minutes as amended, as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Chair votes aye also, thank you. And the next one we have is August 10th, 2015.
Mr. Chair, my copy is marked draft. Is this
Yes,
the?
it is. Mine too.
We always draft till we approve them.
Okay, well, just, this one wasn't marked draft.
Just a different
I was looking for the watermark, not the stamp. Oh. Duh. It's been a long day.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Can I get a second on that then?
Seconded.
Everybody finish reading them? Yeah? Ms. Labrie?
Just one moment, please.
Not a problem.
All set, thank you.
Okay. Motions have been approved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye also. The next meeting we had, we'd like to change to September 15th. We would be scheduled on the 14th, but Mr. Lynch has a prior commitment, and he'd like to change it to the 15th. And then the other meeting will be on September 28th with the joint committee with the school committee.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I didn't know I'd be here after September 8th, so.
You're not getting away with that easy. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah, our next meeting will be,
Mr. Chair, if I could, just so that we're clear, because sometimes people at home kind of, maybe they went to get their ice cream or something, and then they tune in and they missed it last time when we swept from the Monday to the Tuesday. Just be real clear that we will be switching it instead of the 14th. and
on the 15th.
We will have it on the 15th.
Can we put that on the television scroll?
I had a couple people speak to me about that, and I know we had mentioned it before, but,
Yeah.
I know when I'm home watching, I used to go get my
On the
ice cream.
town calendar, and also they'll scroll it on the TV.
Sure, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay, other than that, if you have anything else to put on the agenda, please make sure it gets to Linda by Wednesday afternoon. I know Thursday morning she tries to post everything, so we can get it up online quicker. Other than that, we have no executive session.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Just a question about the tri-meeting that we have coming up on the 28th.
If you have anything,
How does, yeah,
if you have anything you want to put on it, send it to
On
me,
the
and I'll send it
agenda?
to the chairs, and then they will
Okay.
send anything they have, so we can put a joint
to
agenda
kind of compile
together.
everything together onto an agenda?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you would need that by the Wednesday before also? Well, you would need it probably a couple days before.
Yeah, I need a little bit before so I can push it off.
Like the- like the-
If you-
like the week
if you
before,
have
whatever,
anything
yeah.
that's on the top of your head right now that you want to?
I don't.
Okay, well,
But
the
just-
next week or two.
Just trying to get it out there,
Yeah, if there, any
procedure
other
for
boards
creating
have.
that agenda.
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody has anything, please get it into your board as quick as possible so the chairs could share that information, so everybody has all the proper documentation going into that meeting. I think that makes it best for all of us going forward. Other than that, I'd like to look for a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye at 8:56.